People get on their horse and they ride it to the end.
We're about kicking the fucking horse out from under you on this show, folks.
Right.
So that you can't ride it all the way to the end. And I gotta tell you, since I started this show, I can't find my fucking horse.
It's the 27th day of March, 2016, and we are the Radical Agnostic, broadcasting from the Sonoran Desert in Tucson, Arizona. The working class philosophers, the intellectual outlaws, the desert prophets. We are all of these things, and we're here to inoculate you against toxic ideology. My name's John, I'm the host. My co-host is Mark Beef. Whoop whoop! We got the stowaway guest, Bryan Richter.
Howdy.
And it's my pleasure to present Black by popular demand. It's Donald Taylor.
That's what I'm talking about. It's a hell of an intro.
Yeah. I'll give you a little list of what we're going to talk about just to help you out. We're going to talk about politics, campaign in the ass 2016. Number 2, we're going to talk about privacy, the epic event, which I attended at the U of A. We're going to talk about Trump rally violence, or should we call it Bernie supporter violence, and road protests and stuff like that, and a bunch of other stuff that we'll jam in there. But first, Donald, how are you, man?
I'm doing fantastically well.
That's awesome.
Yes, indeed.
You just recently competed at a state-level jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yes, I did.
If you're anything like me, the week before, you couldn't sleep. You got like your heart started pounding every time you imagined it. You tried to come up with plans for what you were going to do, none of which made any sense or did anything for you. Right. And you had insomnia, and it was hell. Is that
absolutely?
All right, good. We're on the same page then. How do you handle the nerves going up to that? Have you figured out any strategies over the years?
Actually, no. The one thing that helped me do this one was before I got on the mat. It's something I've never ever done before. Is I actually meditated before I got on the mat.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Like, I just closed my eyes. I didn't care who was looking at me. Because I was kind of like spinning out of control. I was like, oh, my God, it's here. There's the guy. You know, Martine's in the back. He's, I'm breathing. I'm like, okay, hold on. Let me slow everything down.
Yeah.
Let me close my eyes, get in there. All right. We're good.
And it helped?
It helped a lot.
Oh,
actually,
nice.
Yeah.
See, I tried that once and I got smoked right away. I was like, I was too mellow, man. I went out there all like, happy to be there. This is going to be fun. And then I'm like, oh, man, he's really coming hard. I wasn't ready.
Yeah. Well, the difference is Donald actually meditated. He didn't just get baked.
True.
There is a distinction there. I've been too calm too at a tournament. Once or twice, I was like, "Hey, I'm not nervous. This is great," and I just kind of sauntered onto the mat.
Got smoked.
Got my ass kicked in like 20 seconds.
I think the other guy was as baffled in that match as I was. He's like, it shouldn't have been like that. I'm like, I feel the same way.
I don't feel like I earned my medal.
Yeah, want a do-over? I go for a do-over. If I was just thinking when the match started, it would have been great.
Well, it was kind of weird because I felt like I was sort of nervous, and then I felt him being nervous, and we were all kind of anxious, and then we locked up. We both didn't want to do anything crazy, so we're both kind of taking our time, and I'm not realizing that it's only 5 minutes. So by the time I get warmed up, like, okay, I'm going to smash this guy now. I was like, really? 5 minutes?
Damn.
Really? I was like, oh, okay.
It either goes real fast or it goes real slow, depending on
how tired you are.
Right.
Or if Hector's on top of you or not.
Right.
That makes a difference.
It makes a hell of a difference.
5 minutes is a fucking long time under those difficult circumstances.
Harold.
Yeah.
2 minutes is a long time.
Guys, did you all see Bernie Sanders? The little bird on the podium at a Bernie event?
I saw that.
It was adorable. Is it just me because I love the man?
It might be a little bit of that.
It's fairly adorable. Yeah. I take a picture. I have a bird in my hand on my Facebook page. John doesn't like it at all. But one lands somewhere near Bernie Sanders, and it's like he's fucking Ace Ventura. That's awesome.
Come to me, my jungle friends.
That's pretty cool. That bird was actually a drone that the Soviet Socialist Republic built back in the 80s.
You mean the Clinton campaign?
Yeah.
Oh.
No, not the Clinton campaign. The actual Soviets.
Actual socialists. They weren't at the Star Wars level yet. It was the Starling Wars.
I saw a meme that I was like, this has gone too far. They had the Bernie Sanders bird, and then right under it they had like Hitler with a big old crow. And I was like, okay, I'm done.
I saw the one with
an anti-Bernie.
Yeah, it was just like I was like,
only dictators care about birds.
I saw the one of Trump cringing from the eagle with then the bird landing with Bernie, and he's all smiling, and then Trump's like, ah.
Did you see that redone, photoshopped or whatever? So they had that video, and they put in, instead of the eagle, Bernie Sanders with a hamburger and fries in front of him, and it's Trump like trying to grab a fry, and the Bernie like, ah!
I saw a bumper sticker in the parking lot of Fry's the other day, an old beat up car, and it said Bernie Sanders because fuck this shit.
Lord have mercy.
Yeah.
Fuck this.
So Trump's obviously running away with it, but here's this problem. Of all the votes that have been cast in Republican primaries this far, he's gotten less than 40% of them.
Because there's so many candidates.
Yeah, there were. And now there's just 3. But, yeah, that is one of the explanations why they were, votes were going away. But it remains true that less than half of Republicans want him to be the president.
Right.
So that's not good for the Republican nominee.
Well, so do you mean less than 40% or less than 50%?
Less than 40.
Because I've seen a bunch of results recently that were like he was in 47, 48%. I mean, this has been since the last 3.
Yeah.
Since it was just him, Cruz, and...
I think he won Hawaii, but with like 47. Yeah, I
so
think
that's more than 40.
Right, but if you add them all up, he's a lot of them he's won with like 29%. He'll win a state. And some states he hasn't won at all.
Right, and the other ones won with like 10% or didn't win but got about 10 or 15 or whatever, right?
So that's the average right now. So it's an issue that he's going to have to overcome.
Well, I think that's like Bryan said. You're talking about when there were a bunch of candidates,
right?
And as it becomes just him as the candidate, it's going to, or as the nominee, or him and Cruz as just, he's going to get a lot more.
Yeah, but don't you think that there's huge numbers on the dislike of Trump, even in the Republican Party? I mean, that must have something to do with it. There's a lot of people who don't want to vote for him.
But again, it's the same
Trump
thing.
Movement.
It's the same. You can use it on the other side, too. Aren't there a lot of people that don't want Clinton? And yet, if she becomes the nominee, they're going to vote for her.
I'm not going to vote for her.
No, I know, but I'm just saying there's plenty of people, and I see it all the time. If she becomes the nominee, even though I don't like her, I'm going to vote for her.
Yeah,
right.
I wonder what those folks would do if Bernie stayed in as an independent.
I'd like to know that. I wish he never would have went as a Dem, and
so do I.
Wasn't independent from the get-go.
Well, he wouldn't have come nearly as far as he has. If he
I don't believe you. I don't believe that. So, we can discuss this hypothesis forever. You're not going to convince me. I'm not going to convince you.
No, fine. Just look at the history of independent runs and how they struggle to get on the ballot.
And the history is the same in this instance.
Well, it is.
Bernie Sanders' whole campaign is the same as any independent campaign.
It is different.
So again, we can discuss this forever, but
they do make it hard to get on the ballot.
Really be convinced.
It's extremely hard to get on the ballot.
They do make it hard to get on the ballot. I'm like 90% agreeing with you. I would have loved to see him stay as an independent and stick to his guns 100%. I get why he did it, and it did make it easier for him to get on the ballot. But I'm with Mark. I wish he would have stayed an independent.
Or even if she gets a nomination, throw his support behind Jill Stein and the Green Party instead of giving it to fucking Hillary.
Well, that's a different story about what he'll do, if he loses. Yeah, so that I'm with you on. The independent thing, though,
you're not convincing me. I don't believe you because
you're not letting me give any reason.
You just keep me historically. If I look at history,
that's one reason.
Well, I'm just saying.
The second is the all the material benefits you get from playing with the Democratic Party. You get access to their voting records, their data.
John,
what?
DNC and how they've treated Sanders. You're going to tell me that he benefited a lot by being a Democratic.
He definitely benefited a lot, but
they've
might be
been
right
trying
that he's
to feed him the snake,
suffered.
Dude.
Yeah, I know, dude. I'm all over that conspiracy thing.
They've been trying to feed him the snake.
I should have prepared this a little more, but there was an interesting article, and I thought, Mark, you would especially be interested in this, about the last-ditch plan by the Republicans to stop Trump and have one of their guys win the presidency, even if he's the Republican nominee. Okay, so there's this complicated plan they have, Mitt Romney and his ilk, that to stop Trump even if he does get the automatic nomination. And so this would be them promoting a candidate on a third-party ticket. Now, this is the Republican establishment, if you want to get your heads around this, who are going to promote a third-party candidate in the general election. So
I've heard that.
Let's say it's Hillary Clinton versus Trump. Republicans are going to put this other guy in there and get him on the ballot in 2 states. I think that this is the plan. California and New York or something.
Big delegate states.
In the mic. So just like the nomination in the general, the electoral college, you have to get 270 electoral college votes to be the president, and you're the president if you get 270, because I guess that's 51% or what I didn't even know until reading this article. More interesting American democracy lore is that if no one gets 270 electoral votes in the general election, then the election goes to the House of Representatives.
Yeah.
Isn't that what happened with George Bush and Al Gore? Wasn't something like that?
No, that went to the Supreme Court because they couldn't decide on how to fairly count the votes in Florida. So,
how to fairly count? 1, 2, 3, 4. What the fuck does that even mean?
Well,
how to fairly count?
His brother was the governor.
Right.
Well, actually,
there's shit going on.
So
he can't count. I got it.
Back in my brother's play, shit going on.
And if you remember, me and Bryan might be the only ones that are old enough to do, but when Reagan got shot in 81 or whatever it was, Alexander Haig declared himself in charge. He was the House of the Representative.
Who got shot?
Reagan.
When he was in the hospital?
When he got shot, almost tried to be assassinated by, what's his face?
We should try to remember that.
Was it Hinckley?
Hinckley, yeah. And it should have been, Bush as the vice president. But if the president and the vice president get killed in office, then it goes
the
to
Speaker of the House.
Speaker of the House. And so...
Yeah.
And actually, you know what? I think after the Speaker of the House, it's like Secretary of... something state, maybe.
It's a good question. What is for?
And I think actually that's what Haig was.
Secretary of State next. Would it be next?
That would make sense.
If Eddie was here, he'd be Googling that. We're too lazy.
But whoever, whether it was Secretary of State or Secretary of the Military Arms,
Defense,
or whatever, Secretary of Defense. I think actually that's what Haig was, because I think Tip O'Neill was House of Representatives, and he even jumped not just one place but 2 places.
And he seized control briefly.
No, he just made an
statement
announcement to the media and came out and said, "All right, we're going to do this and we're going to do that."
I'm
running this shit.
Yeah, the balls on that guy. He's like, I think I'll be in charge.
It would have been called like the leapfrog coup.
Yeah,
I just jumped these guys and said I was fucking taking over.
No, I'll do it.
I got this.
I'll do it.
I got this.
Just lean on me. I got it.
Sit down, George.
Get the fuck down. I got this.
Lean on me.
I got a tip for you, O'Neill.
Sit
down.
Wait, where is Eddie? He went to church today?
Yeah,
Eddie's a closet Catholic?
Eddie's
a closet Catholic.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Every religious holiday, he never shows up.
Yep. Eddie's a closet Catholic. He pretends to be an atheist. He's only an atheist for the show.
You heard it here first.
I'm staying far out of that one.
He thought he's going to be mad at me again next week.
Yeah.
I won't be here to absorb your wrath.
Where are you going?
It's my mom's birthday. Unless she's doing a church thing and doesn't want me, which is highly possible.
I got a present for her. She can be on the Radical Agnostic.
Oh, yeah.
On her birthday.
She'd love that. Sit her right next to you.
Yeah.
Great.
So who is the House of Representatives right now? Is it Paul Ryan?
Yeah.
It's Paul Ryan.
Speaker of the House. Paul Ryan. Took over for Boner.
And did you see the speech that he made recently? But basically, he just came out and he basically admitted and said that he was wrong and about all of his thinking before about people on unemployment,
demonizing the poor.
Yeah, poor, basically.
He made a very articulate statement that said, "I used to go around saying poor people are lazy, they're bad people, da 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 da." He said, "Now I don't talk like that anymore because I know most of them are struggling and they're good folk, and they just
there's another reason that they're poor other than them being lazy. The system is actually set up against them.
So this guy really is positioning himself as
more of a moderate.
Or I want those votes when I finally run.
Right. Yeah. A lot of people put pressure on him to run for president now because they've just tried everything, the Republican establishment. They're like, well, maybe we could run Big Bird. I don't know. Big Bird. Is he available? Where's Elmo?
Get somebody's ass up here. We can't have this fucker do it.
Yeah.
Don't we have another actor? Can we flip Clooney?
Yeah.
Can we flip Clooney?
This last ditch plan, hypothetical plan, then, is that the Republicans would field a third party candidate in the presidential election enough to steal to make sure Hillary or Trump do not get the 270 votes required, knowing that this would almost definitely ensure that Hillary does get the votes required and wins. But they're so desperate. There were discussions about this, about fielding this third candidate enough to steal the majority away, to let the vote go to the House of Representatives, where, of course, there's a massive Republican establishment majority, which all of a sudden makes it extremely likely that the House of Representatives would elect that third-party guy as the president of the United States, who got, 5% of the vote, and that's legal. The House of Representatives then just votes, and there's almost all Republicans. So
but they all show up for that.
Right.
Yeah.
Bet you get a full fucking attendance roster that day.
None of this.
Marco Rubio's in there like, where's everybody out here?
None of this will probably happen, but it's fascinating that they came up with this sneaky plan, and then the idea that the person who's president could have gotten 5 or 6% of the national vote, and then how Americans would feel about that. That'd be interesting.
Well, also, if you look historically about our political parties in this country and their evolution, that's kind of how parties have changed and even gone away and other ones sprout up. There's something that happens in the party.
The schism.
And there's a schism, and then
the party falls out of touch with the people it's supposed to be attracting. And both parties have done that. So, now, last week, Arizona voted, and it was a sad day for many of us because Hillary Clinton won the Democratic primary. But you know what? The interesting thing is this. Bernie Sanders actually won Arizona, sort of. And the way he did, out of everyone who voted that day, Bernie beat Hillary 52 to 48%. And so her victory was entirely based on early mail-in ballots, which were mailed in weeks or even months ago, before Bernie had ever played an ad on TV in Arizona, ever came here, ever did anything. And even before, for a lot of people, his name recognition, the further you go back, the further he goes back to obscurity, which is where he started from. So in terms of people who voted on Election Day here in Arizona last week, Bernie beat Hillary. So that's a consolation prize. And then yesterday was awesome because he won Alaska, Hawaii, and Washington State, which has a lot of delegates. And not only did he won every county in all 3 states. And I was wondering, as a piece of trivia, if that's ever happened before in a primary. So he destroyed. It was beautiful. So next is Wisconsin. He really has to win that. And then he has to do competitively in New York, where Hillary is heavily favored. There's a senator there. And
so as the radical agnostic, we do come to kill your bias unless it's for Bernie Sanders.
Well, you guys are here. Shut me down. I'm relying on
I think that's a reason why that bird video came out. Because that bird video, the bird coming to the podium.
Yeah, Bernie Sanders.
Well, is it any coincidence that happened, and then Alaska and Hawaii both went for him, where there's more wildlife than humans in either state?
Clearly, to me, it means that Mother Nature has come out and fucking endorsed Bernie Sanders. Beyond a shadow of a doubt, that's what it means to me. She just cast her vote.
Donald, you're not convinced by any of these people.
No.
You're not in.
Donald's taking the opposite approach, aren't you? You're stepping out. You're putting down your pen.
Done.
You're not going to mark any boxes.
Fuck no. I'm not going to get involved.
Is it because you don't
Vermin
popularity contest?
Is it because you're not interested in the process, or because you're really disgusted?
I'm just disgusted by
Yeah.
it all. It's like,
So what? Like you're just gonna fucking
one's
sit back
like-
and polish your rifle and wait for
that's
it to all
man.
fall apart, man.
It's
and then-
all finna explode, man. I just don't want to take part in any bullshit anymore. I'm done.
Yeah. What do you say to the critic who tells you that
You gave up your voice.
democracy is a very
Well,
fragile
it-
thing, and it's
it's-
given us everything we
Because
have?
people would say that.
I'm like, it's gone already.
Your voice?
It's
Yeah.
gone. It's gone. It's a popularity contest.
Yeah,
You
I can
got-
understand the desire not to be played anymore by a system that gives you a nominal voice.
Like, I don't think
Just
there's
from the
anybody
simple
that
fact
doesn't feel like
I
that
can
here.
watch the news and have the Republican Party tell me how they're going to screw a guy out of the nomination, and I don't like that guy either. But just the fact that they're telling me that, hey, we're going to try to screw this guy if he doesn't have enough.
We're going to try to defy your vote, America.
So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Super
just
delegates
done.
on the left is a similar thing. It's like, oh, we created this concept to prevent you dirty people in the streets from deciding
Wasn't it to
elections.
stop another Mondale? Isn't that what happened?
Yeah,
It's
and
the,
a Carter,
it's the Mondale effect.
and the Carter effect. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just done with it though. I know who's going to be the nominees already. I know ultimately who's going to win.
fair enough. Anyone else got anything to say about that?
I got a buddy that told me 2 years ago who was going to be the next president because of some fucking event she got invited to that nobody else did. And he said if you go back through history, the people that have become president were the people that were invited to that
Was
event.
it like the Bilderberg group or something?
It's some weird fucking big money thing like that. And Hillary was the only person that got invited. So he did, like, literally years ago he told me this. He's like, she'll be the next president because she was the only one there.
Yeah.
I think I would have told you the same thing 2 years ago.
I think you did tell me the same thing 2 years ago.
All right.
I like that you're out here rooting for the old guy, though. You're like, fucking go,
Well,
Bernie.
you
Don't
know,
comb your hair.
I didn't know who Bernie Sanders was until you said something.
Yeah.
And that's when I saw him. I was like, hey, there's that guy. Hey.
I like when he
So,
gets fired
I like
up,
when-
dude. I really do.
I like
when he
that
starts
other
pointing up in
people-
the air and yelling, I
Yeah.
fucking dig
I
that
like
shit.
when he does the thing.
With his
But
the
I was
pointing
just-
finger
yeah.
thing. Yeah.
But see, what killed me was I hadn't heard him until you said something. And then I see him, and then all these people are like, feel the burn. And I'm like, okay.
Well, see, then you're like Mark at heart, because as soon as you start to see enthusiasm, you're turned off. You're
I feel like you
completely
bah
turned off.
humbugged the Bernie,
No,
dude.
I
I
don't
feel like you
have
bah humbugged the Burn.
I don't have a
Well, 'cause
problem with
you-
enthusiasm at all. I have a problem with unthinking
Yeah.
enthusiasm.
That's what it was. Because you had a
Rabid.
general, you were like, this guy. And I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And you had information on him. And then I see him, I go, oh, there's the guy John was talking about. Then next thing you know, everybody's, and then, he's got a catchphrase and feel the burn.
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
oh, fuck all this.
Yeah, it is all. Yeah, it is. Some of the best things about him have become very corporate, almost in nature, and very message.
Sound bites.
Yeah. Anyway, and people invest so much of their personal identity and their
Yep.
beliefs into these figures. I've been doing it, and you know what? I read there was an article the other night, and it said it was by some far left site, Bernie thing, and it was like, have you ever even met a Hillary supporter? And I was like, boom, there it is. Yeah, I've been saying that on the show for a while now. I don't even know it. I know two. I know Barnaby, who's been on the show, and one of Paula's friends. I know two in my life. Like in our apartment complex, there's 10 Bernie bumper stickers and none for any other candidate on either side. And I saw this article. I was like, do you even know it? And I didn't click on it, but I assume it was like basically a conspiracy theory that the DNC, has been supporting Hillary. And I was like, and then I sat and thought and tried to go radical agnostic on it. And I was like, no, obviously there are tens of millions of people voting for her. What's probably going on here is that I've sheltered myself in my social network to the point where I don't meet people with different opinions.
Right.
And I felt bad about that. And I think that, like you just said, Brian, I'm very biased on the show on politics, and it's probably turning people off because of the theme of the show. So I must be just cloistering myself with like-minded.
You got beef to keep it even, because no matter what your idea is,
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck what your idea is. Mark has an
That's a different
opposing
one.
idea,
Which
so
is
we're fucking
awesome.
always solid, dude.
Well,
so
probably.
true, dude. You're like, you and I just
I always wait for it, too. I'm like, here it comes.
you could
And there it
interview
is.
us separately on an issue, and like maybe once in a while we would agree 100%, and then if you put us in the room, by the end of the 5 minutes we would have opposite takes on that issue.
Well, and maybe all the Hillary supporters in your apartment complex are so poor that they don't own cars.
Yeah, right.
Or they're just like,
Or
I need
banners.
gas. I can't afford a bumper sticker.
I ride the bus. I put a Hillary Clinton sticker on the bus.
One time, speaking of putting stickers on cars, and this is just really loose, a loose association, but I came back from Amsterdam one time, and when we got off the train, we passed by all like the MP cars. They were all lined up, and we put little Potley stickers on all the bumpers.
Military police.
One. Yeah, every single one.
The fuck is this?
We should throw eggs at them on Halloween.
Great.
Oh man,
Make them get out and run. They don't like that. They're only like 20 years old too, so they'll still fucking kick your ass when they catch you, dude. They're not
Be a
playing.
little fun event when they get you.
Yeah, we think that shit's funny.
Yeah,
Huh?
it's
Yeah,
just funny,
how's that fucking mud taste?
Yeah.
we
Get some of that.
we plan to talk about a little bit more about this violence at the Trump rallies thing. It seems to have died down a little bit, but I think Mark has a little more to say on it. We'll try not to rehash the same stuff we've talked about the last 2 weeks on it. But Mark, you had something you wanted to say about the one in Tucson, right, where a protester was like draped in is it an American flag or?
That's American flag jacket.
No, he had an American flag T-shirt.
Okay, and then
Or not button-down shirt.
and then a black Air Force career Air Force guy. I don't know if he was enlisted or an officer. I think he was enlisted.
I think he was enlisted.
Yeah, but he beat the shit out of the guy. I mean, he hit him in the face, knocked him down. Then he started kicking him. I mean, so I guess this Air Force guy was a Trump guy. But so anyway, what's your take on it, Mark?
So I just want to describe the video that I saw, and I saw a couple. I saw one from across the stadium or thing, like on the other side, but it was a pretty good, clear video of the event. I saw one, actually, a person standing like right behind the guy that punched him.
Oh,
So
the puncher?
Yeah, so in the one from across the thing, it showed from the very beginning when the guy's on the floor and being escorted out. He's holding a sign, being escorted out, and up the steps. Even on the floor, there's a person behind him about 15, 20 feet away, Sieg Heiling and wearing a KKK hood.
Right. And this is a protester.
This is another protester that's
trying
being
to
ironic. That's
what he's
making
really
a
trying to
mockery, right?
No, what he's really trying to do, well, he might be making a mockery. He's probably also trying to make Trump look bad in the event that some people thought this was an actual Klan guy supporting Trump, maybe.
I don't think they thought that. I think
Because it wasn't really a Klan getup, though, wasn't
Yeah,
it?
No,
It
they
was
only
like
had
a
a
pillowcase.
Klan, and it
Looked
was
like a
just a
pillowcase.
pillowcase. Yeah,
Yeah, it wasn't the cone. It wasn't like a real.
no.
Okay,
And
so,
it was a girl, right?
And it was a
It might
girl.
have been, yeah.
And it was a girl. Yes.
all right. So what is that?
So-
how does
so-
that color the incident?
Okay, so this person was, I'm believing, a friend of the protester being thrown out.
It kind of seemed that
They
way
had
to
been
me
together.
too.
She's now following him
in the same
as they
group
lead
at the
him
very
out.
least. Yeah.
He's holding the sign. He's holding is a picture of Donald Trump, and it says "Bad for America," but very tiny at the top.
Yeah.
It's mostly a picture of Donald Trump's face with a Confederate flag superimposed over his face. So then, and he's wearing an American T-shirt, American flag button-down shirt.
Right.
He's being led up the steps, and black dude rips the sign out of his hand and then decks him one. And then he goes down, and dude starts stopping him. Now, I've come to, I don't know. I haven't read anything as an interview with the guy who punched him to say that he actually supports Trump and was there in support. Somebody that he supposedly talked to has said that, but that's hearsay. It doesn't hold up in court. So I'm just saying, no one that I know, I've never read anything where he has come out and said, I support Trump.
Okay.
So I don't know.
Okay.
I do not know. What I am thinking, though, is a person that was dressed up as in the Klan and Sieg Heiling, and then another person that had a Confederate flag fucking picture in their hand got decked by a black dude.
Oh, so you're thinking it's possible?
There's a lot of symbolism there that people like to play around with that can be fucking inflammatory.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Okay, so you're
You know what I
speculating
mean?
that
Like,
maybe the black
I'd be
guy
wrong.
was offended by those images.
That's right.
Yeah.
I never
Could
even
be.
fucking thought about that.
and his attribution of those images to Trump. So, and maybe this guy is a Trump
not
supporter,
even to Trump. He might not have thought about Trump at all.
Right, but
he might have been like, these two people are fucking racist.
Right. Yeah.
What are they doing in my? I'm at this fucking place. Fuck them.
It's not that hard to fucking.
Well, if they're being escorted out by security,
hard for me to go down.
No.
Right, but if they're being escorted out by security, doesn't anyone have to assume these are protesters of Trump? I mean,
I don't know. Do you?
I don't know.
So you're saying
they're just asking. So you're saying if the
Klan did show up and started to they wouldn't be escorted out?
But that girl wasn't in the Klan because the
I
costume
don't
was
know
shit.
anything.
That
John.
wasn't a real.
I don't
Klan.
know anything. I can think.
Okay. Yeah.
Something.
No, you bring up a
I
very.
don't know.
No.
Anything.
It's very. Yeah. I hadn't thought of that. I think it's unlikely that all of those pieces fit in that way, but it's possible, and that's a good point. Go ahead, Donald.
The thing I heard was the guy was coming up the stairs and the guy spit on him. And then
which guy?
The guy with the American
the white
shirt,
guy spit on the black.
Spit on the black guy,
and then he fucking loses it.
All right.
And then starts whipping his ass. Now, I didn't see anybody spit on anybody.
Yeah, we don't know.
So I didn't see that, but that's every time I get defense, everybody wants to defend the guy that, well, he got spit on. I didn't see that.
You know what's funny? I wondered that when I first saw it, because the dude, at first it seemed like dude was standing off to the side, and then it seemed like he decided all of a sudden that I'm going to punch this motherfucker. And I thought, I wonder if he spit on him.
Well, he ripped the sign out of his hands first.
Well,
he ripped the sign like almost in half. Out of his hands.
Now, Mark, you've been before very adamant about free speech and saying that, whatever I say, you don't get to impose the use of force on my body through physical violence, no matter what I say. But
I believe that
in these cases,
but I'm just saying, I believe that. I think that you do not have the right to do that. Now, whether it's going to happen or not, that's a different reality.
Yeah, you can believe a lot of things.
I can believe that.
But us analyzing the incident and attributing blame. I mean,
I'm not attributing blame.
Now, I have a question.
I'm saying what everyone likes to say, that somehow they 100% know why someone did something, and then what that person's beliefs completely are, and everything else. And one reason I wanted to talk about this is because Donald's on here, and as a black man, I want to get his perspective.
Me too.
On what do you think about black people being able to support Trump? Do you think they have that right? I mean, it might be counterintuitive. It might be not so productive.
Yeah.
But do you, if you, whatever race you are, do you have a fucking debt to vote for one party over the other? Well, do you have to?
Yeah. Now, Donald, you're not shy about calling people out as Uncle Toms and
right? Not shy at all.
Yeah. So what is your answer to Mark's question there?
Well, okay. Well,
like Ben Carson.
Well, okay. So thanks. To me, Ben Carson endorsing Donald Trump was Uncle Tomish to me, because you got a guy who wants to build a wall, deport 11 million Hispanic or illegal immigrants, wants to keep Muslims out. It's very, if you're darker than me, I'm going to put you down.
Yeah.
Get you out of here, ban you.
Yeah.
It seems that way. And even in his own business, there have been reports about in the 70s, he didn't even want black people in his building when he showed up to his building. Yeah, I think he settled out of court for one of those things in the 70s. I have to look that up. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But for Ben Carson to now be like, yeah, this guy is great for the country, it's a little Uncle Tomish. Sorry, I can't cut it any other way.
It looks like an opportunistic move too. I want to get behind
especially,
the winner.
and just excuse me for interrupting. Especially after it came to light that Ben Carson did that after Donald Trump offered him a position.
Oh Jesus!
And that's what they were saying. He got on the View and said that was to he got on the View and was like, oh no, that wasn't it. It was like, well, you already said it was.
Yeah, they hammered him on the View.
Yeah. So.
He's a very wealthy man. I don't know why he wants to be in politics now. I mean, I know it can be lucrative, but he's already
wanted to bring Jesus to the White House, bro. To me, it's that simple. Ben Carson wanted to bring Jesus to the White House.
And it's, why don't interviewers ask him, Ben Carson, do you believe the Earth is 10,000 years old? Can you just answer the question? Because he does.
Yeah, and if you say yes, we can end the interview now.
I mean, not in the interview, but yeah, functionally.
Well, it's over for me at this point.
Like, okay, well,
fuck, dude.
But as far as if you're black and you want to vote for Trump, you have every right to do so. It's just not a good look.
Yeah.
No, yeah, and that's I completely agree with that. And my argument really, or my point that I'm trying to bring up, is people act all the time like they're completely shocked that black people can do this. And my point is, I think that is racist thinking, because what you're doing is you're saying black people are not human, they can't make mistakes, they can't think stupidly, they can't be as fucked up as any other human being,
or they can't have opinions that I don't understand.
Right. Well, whatever your intention is, unless you're carrying a sign or it's actually like you're speaking like this thing and your words are going to be heard as much as this image is going to be seen, like, it doesn't matter. Like, you throw up a fucking Sieg Heil and that picture's taken and then blasted all over the internet.
Yeah.
Most people are going to see it and not even know what your intentions were. They're just going to see you.
They're going to be like Bernie Sanders hails Hitler.
This guy's a fucking asshole.
Right.
Or this guy's at least a Nazi supporter.
Because, for conservatives, they think Bernie Sanders they'll say he's Hitler just as often as as anyone else will say Trump is Hitler. Everyone's Hitler. So you see a Bernie Sanders supporter doing a Nazi salute, and all you have is a picture, and you're a conservative. You're like, look, these Bernie people, they were totalitarian socialists. They're Hitler.
Right.
Even if he was doing it ironically.
Right.
The problem is Trump has that and this other thing. So it's like you can put that stuff on Bernie, but he doesn't come off that way.
Right.
So,
he's a Jew.
Right. So So
there's that little fucking thing.
There's that little
so
wrinkle,
you can say, "Oh, he's like Hitler too." Yeah, whatever. But if you stick it to Donald Trump, it makes more sense.
That's what I think, but I don't want to. We're trying not to.
It makes more fucking sense.
But I mean, that is true. But at the same time, it's still like a second-grade argument. Right. You're like, whenever you compare anyone to Hitler, you're not making a logical, intelligent argument.
Yeah.
You're making an argument that's very basic, very emotional, very just like,
but for the sake,
don't have much
for
of
the
argument.
sake of argument, though, mustn't there be in the world political figures who are like Hitler?
Yeah, they're in the neo-Nazi party.
Yeah, I gotta agree. I agree with Mark, man. That's
Or the
pretty
National Socialist
extreme.
Party,
It's
or-
extreme rhetoric.
Good point.
It's extreme rhetoric
Yeah, it is.
to go there. It's really divisive, and it's not.
Well, Eddie had a name for it. It's like Godwin's Law.
Yeah, Godwin's Law is
Yeah,
what
it's
it's
like
called.
it only takes 5 minutes for anyone to.
But that's about the internet. It only takes like 5 minutes for any argument to devolve into you comparing it to Hitler or someone in there.
Nazi Germany. Yeah.
But did you see the? I guess I don't know this. Donald Trump has a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame.
Oh yeah.
And someone spray painted a swastika on it
recently.
But of course, it's fucking backwards.
Oh God, they can't even get it right.
I was like, you know who did that? Morton Downey Jr.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that story.
What does that mean?
Morton Downey Jr. supposedly went into an airport, I forget where, and skinheads roughed him up and spray painted a swastika on his face. Only when he was talking to the media, and you could see it clearly, spray painted on his face, but it was backwards, done like as if he had done it himself in the mirror.
Yeah,
so he faked getting beat,
and he admitted it finally. He faked it. He wanted to get attention. His show was over. He wasn't getting much attention in the media.
He got that little gig on Predator 2, but it wasn't paying the bills anymore.
Right.
Uh-oh. You guys hear that music? It's shot in the
dark.
dark.
In the dark. I knew it was coming, man.
It's shot in the dark.
All right, bring it, fucker.
Ready?
I haven't gotten one of these right, for the record.
I pick ones that no one can get right.
Fuck you, man. You ought to give us a chance 1 week, bitch.
They're not impossible to know. I don't know any of them when I read them.
I pick ones that nobody will ever get, but they're not impossible to know.
Eddie got the first one right.
Fuck Eddie. Of course Eddie got the first one right, man.
Happy Easter.
Eddie's like a fucking encyclopedia cyborg.
Yeah.
Awesome.
All right. If you took all the cells in a human body, so any piece of skin has tons of skin cells, your liver is made up of liver cells or whatever, etc. Your whole everything is made up of cells, I guess. Bone cells.
Yes.
So Brian's laughing.
Oh boy.
So you get all the cells in the human body, count them up. Of those cells, what percentage? We all know that there are gross little bacteria bugs in us at any given moment, and lots of them.
About 5 pounds.
What percentage of your total cells are made up of bacteria cells, which are not, part of your body, but are parasites in or on your body? So what percentage of all your cells are bacteria cells?
No, they're really small.
Did you say in or...
They're very small, right?
John, did you say in or on?
All.
Because
the whole body, if you blend it up into cells in a blending machine.
Most of them are in your intestines, but there's a whole shit ton of them on your skin.
I'll give you a hint. It's a lot.
Yeah, fuck, because they're so
50%.
Small.
Well, my answer is gonna be a shot in the dark, and I was gonna go 47%.
Yeah, I was gonna say about 35. Honestly,
right. The answers are in, everybody, and the actual answer, from what I read on a trivia site, is that it's 95%. And I think if that is true, it's because they're so small, and where they are found, they're found in such great numbers that
your intestines.
There's.
So I'm screaming and yelling and running up on the Price is Right stage right now.
You ought to run. Yeah, you are.
That's how I felt, because he went 50, I went 47.
Yeah,
you ought to run that by Miss Mays and see what she says.
He's wearing a Bumblebee Man costume too, so he's ready to get on the show.
You know he is.
Price is Right.
Come on,
Showcase, showdown.
Does Steve Harvey host every daytime television
I
show?
think it's fantastic.
It was Drew Carey doing Price is Right last time I saw him.
I don't know if he does Price
You
is
don't know
Right.
the difference between Drew Carey and
No,
Steve
I
Harvey?
don't know. I'm not saying Price is Right. I'm saying I know
they look the same.
He does Family Feud, and he does at least one other major daytime TV show,
he
and
does.
probably two. I think he does 3 major shows.
I think he's got his own show. He's got the Family Feud. He's doing another thing where kids say stuff funny.
Yeah. Exactly.
He's all over.
He's like the new Bill Cosby.
Yeah,
he's perfect for
it.
it.
Without the pills.
He's not rapey.
Yeah,
he's not rapey.
He's not giving.
He is
women
perfect
pills.
for it, though. He's got that deadpan look that when someone says something stupid or weird, it's hilarious.
No, he's my favorite.
Yeah, he's got
just from Family Feud, he's my favorite game show host.
Yeah. You should see him on Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee with Jerry Seinfeld.
Do you ever see any of the bloopers for that show? Like the parts that don't make the cut, like you can watch them on YouTube. They're pretty fucking
Family
funny.
Feud?
Man. Yeah, dude.
A lot of stuff
like,
makes
what
it.
kind of shit is going
Yeah.
on?
Yeah.
Like he'll just stop
like,
and talk it out of you. What the fuck is going on here? Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, he's pretty funny, man.
and then right after that, Jesus.
Like the first time I saw him have been on Def Comedy Jam. Steve Harvey.
That was one of his first major gigs.
When I first got back from Germany, a lady that I worked with gave me I didn't get to see any of that shit. AFN, on a Def Comedy Jam. She gave me a 6-hour VCR tape of Def Comedy Jam and fucking.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, Billy and I stayed up all night and watched it and laughed like motherfuckers. I still make jokes from some of those.
Yeah, Chris Tucker was there when he was young. Martin,
Bernie Mac. I remember he was like, "I ain't scared of you motherfuckers."
Yeah. Stir it like coffee.
Yeah, I've been blessed. Yeah. I've been blessed.
Was Eddie Murphy ever on that?
I don't know.
He was already. Eddie Murphy was already.
Yeah, he was.
Those guys
he was Dr. Doolittle.
He was playing Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, Martin Lawrence hosted it though, and
this wasn't until like the 90s, early 90s, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, when you see Chris Tucker on there, he's like a comedic gangster. Like he comes out with a beanie and his pants hanging off his ass.
Chris Tucker.
Yeah.
He came out with a new special recently.
Everybody remember him as Pookie?
Feels sexy.
Oh boy. Should we do this mass surveillance subject or the Andrew Jackson American History bit?
I'm assuming that you want to talk about the thing you went to. So.
Yeah.
You know you want to, John.
So I went to this event at the U of A. It was really historic in who was there. It was Noam Chomsky, the most cited living author in the world, public intellectual and linguist. And Edward Snowden was there telecasting from an undisclosed location in Russia, where, of course, he is exiled for leaking data on the National Security Agency's incredible mass surveillance program. And Snowden was up there. He's turning into like a master orator. Like he has these emotional, like well-scripted sort of statements.
Well, that's what happens when you get exiled to Soviet Russia.
Yeah, I guess so. It's so weird that he's there. I don't understand the dynamics of that at all. Who's protecting him and why? But well, so they were talking about Congress people lying or people lying to Congress about this NSA thing. So 4 months before Snowden released all these documents, the head of the National Security Agency testified before Congress, and they asked him directly. Some senator was like, "Are you collecting data on hundreds of millions of Americans right at this point?" And he goes, the National Security NSA guy goes, "No." And then so 4 months later, Snowden released the information that they were, and they now, of course, admit that they were. They're like, "No, we of course we are, but it's totally legal." And lying before Congress is a felony. So the guy, when like some senator or reporter came up to that NSA guy, was like, "So you lied to Congress, right?" And his explanation of why he said that was that I forgot that the NSA, which I run, was collecting data on hundreds of millions of Americans. I forgot. That was his.
I always
and
thought
they were
if
just like, "Oh, okay, no felony, of course."
I always thought if you're part of like one of those agencies that you could lie in the interest of national security or.
Yeah, not before Congress.
Not before Congress.
No.
Then.
Yeah,
I always thought
that's kind of where the buck stops.
Yeah.
Oh, I just thought like you know
you're right.
If
you
are right. They're allowed to lie to the public,
and you're like, I can't really.
Well, you
tell
can do that. You can do that. You can be like, I can't comment on that, and then you can argue that it's an issue of
okay. So I got
security.
the wording wrong.
You can't
just go
no.
But I think Congress, though, they want you need to tell them.
Yeah, if they
because Congress is who makes
yeah, they're the lawmakers.
Yeah, they're lawmakers, so they don't want you lying to them.
Right.
It's okay if you're
But
lying
if
to the American.
if the person asking me a question is a liar himself,
Yeah.
and now he doesn't want me to lie to him,
Donald's defending.
it's kind of like, come on, motherfucker.
That's a good point.
Like me returning the question: are you cheating on your wife right now?
It is a den of snakes. So Snowden's basic message, and Chomsky's and everyone, was that the basic order of American democracy has been flipped upside down. So the basic order is right there in the words: private citizens. You're a private citizen with private property, and no one gets to come within your domain, your house, your property. No one gets to come in there and do anything to you. You're private, blah, blah, blah. You know, even the police need warrants to look at your documents or rifle through your crap or sniff your undies. And then there's a public sphere. That's the government. You know, public libraries, public service, government. They're transparent. Now, their personal lives are private. They're private citizens too. But the government should be transparent. The private citizens get to look at the public government. That was the thing from day one.
It's like going to a restaurant and being able to see into the kitchen.
Yeah.
See how the shit's getting made. That way I know if you're picking your nose and then flipping my fucking pizza down.
Right. So, yeah, exactly. We are supposed to be allowed to see how the sausage is made, in other words.
Sausage. You go right to sausage,
Right
John.
to sausage.
But instead, what we have is very much the opposite. We have a private citizenry, which is being routinely monitored. Every email, every phone call, every text message, and every Google search, and every Facebook post of everyone in this room and everyone listening to me, even if you're overseas, by the way, because they've been doing this to the world. The NSA officials and workers have access to all of that information, and Snowden called them out for showing naked pictures of people that they just grabbed off their phones and laughing and stuff like that. But that's the least of the worry. But anyway, and then we have a government in the NSA that is completely opaque. It's not public. We don't get to look at it. Hundreds of millions of documents are classified, secret, or top secret, and we don't ever get to look at those. So that's basically what we have is a private government and a public citizenry, and it's the opposite of what the country was supposed to be. So that was the main message at the talk.
Can't argue. I'll tell you a story related. I was taking a class on, it was like political ideology. I don't know. Back in 1991,
Mm-hmm.
this little Romanian dude who worked for Radio Free Europe, and he said he took a class field trip to the ITT headquarters up in Brussels, and when they got in, they pulled him aside in this room, and they said, "Hey, we know that that somebody in your group is from Radio Free Europe, so who is it?" And he says, "Well, obviously, if you know that one of us is from Radio Free Europe, then you know that it's me." And he's like, "So can I just ask you a question? Like, how do you know this?" And they said, "Well, we're ITT. We man every switchboard and every fucking communication line in the entire world. We know everything."
This was in the 90s?
Yeah, 1991.
But here's the thing. They had
He
dirt.
told us all that story in class.
I'm thinking they had dirt on this guy, and then they tapped him, and then they listened in and proved it to themselves.
Well, this dude was he's a really cool guy, man. Like, he coordinated there was a big earthquake in Romania, and he coordinated getting dogs in there to get people out of buildings. His land got taken by the Nazis when they came into Transylvania. He was actually from Transylvania.
It's part of Romania, right?
Yeah. And then when the Nazis moved out and Russia took over, they took his fucking land. So he had all this ancestral family land that he was still fighting for. And you could barely understand this guy. And I loved him, though. He used to give me one grade. If I got a B, he would give me an A because of my handwriting. He passed it around. I was really embarrassed. He passed it around the class once. He's like, "This handwriting is so beautiful. I passed it around the class."
You guys should see Brian's handwriting. Beautiful is not quite the word. Technically perfect is probably a better description. Not beautiful at all. It's block.
I just turned in paperwork to a doctor at my new job, and she's like, "Did you type this?" And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "That's my handwriting," and she's like, "You're fucking kidding me."
Yeah.
So there was a third guy at that event.
Yeah.
That you did not mention at all. And
Right.
I just want you to mention him because I don't know anything about him.
It's
like
the Greenland guy?
Yeah.
Glenn Greenwald is the
Greenwald.
Guardian for... he's an American journalist who used to be a constitutional lawyer and who was a reporter for The Guardian, a British, very awesome British newspaper. And he was the one who Edward Snowden contacted and said, I'm going to filter all these documents through you.
All right.
And unlike the WikiLeaks case where Chelsea Manning and Julian Assange just dumped everything onto the internet, Snowden said, I'm going to give it to these different papers filtered through Greenwald, and you journalists are responsible for redacting anything that might be dangerous to American operation, like actual Americans, like spies or something. And, you guys have to go through this and make sure, it's ethical to publish it. So he went about it in a lot of ways the right way, ethically. And Greenwald did a great job and slowly started breaking the story. And he said his greatest fear was that he would break the NSA mass surveillance story and that nothing would happen and it would die after 2 days and no one would care. Now, to some of us, it kind of does seem like that is what happened, but it isn't. It was years ago, and it's still a huge story for a good chunk, a small little but sizable chunk of Americans who care about this stuff. So,
but the only repercussions have happened to Snowden. The people that were doing these things, nothing has happened to them.
No,
and nothing's gonna.
Nothing's changed, and they both,
and that's all part of that National Defense Authorization Act, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that came after. This was already going on during the Bush administration.
Right,
this
but,
NSA
I mean,
program.
that puts it into
and
its policy.
Greenwald and Snowden were keen to emphasize that the government itself released a report, investigated this, saying that the Snowden NSA leaks have led to 0 deaths of Americans operating overseas or anywhere else. So no one's died from this information getting out. Secondly, the NSA data collection itself has led to 0 terrorist plots foiled. This is a report from the government. This isn't left talk. They say, no, this information has not led to any terrorist plot being foiled, which is its main and stated purpose. And it has led to 0 investigations on terrorists being substantially assisted in any way. It hasn't even helped a case against a terrorist. And Chomsky gave a very common sense reason for this. He said they're collecting too much information. There aren't agents to look at this stuff, not even 1% of it. They can't look at 1% of it, ever.
How could
they would
they?
never have enough people. It's billions and billions of files every day.
Yeah.
So they're collecting too much. And it's a case like torture where it's like we have this big debate about, well, you know, should we torture because we could save American lives with it, or should we not torture because it's morally wrong? But that's not the debate. It doesn't save American lives. You don't get accurate information when you torture people. NSA, same thing. We're having this big debate. Is it worth it for national security to let them stare at our buttholes all day? Is it worth it? Because they will save us, obviously. No, they don't save us. The data collection doesn't save us. It hasn't led to anything being foiled.
Well, the argument is, and I heard this from, I forget who, the guy on NPR talking, and I think it was somebody that was involved in the NSA, maybe even he was head of it at one time or something, and he said that basically it's collecting all the data, and then when they find something, when they find out that someone maybe is plotting something, then they go back to that data and search for that person.
Right. You would think that's
and then get information that
way. But apparently they haven't even assisted
so
a
it's
case.
All retroactive. No, I understand.
Yeah. And Chomsky made another good point. He was saying, this Apple FBI thing, the FBI wants Apple to use their own engineers and labor to create software that will allow the FBI to get into this phone. But they actually the FBI canceled the trial because they think they've figured out how to break into that one phone already. No one really knows what's going on there. It's all very strange. But Chomsky was saying the NSA has all the data on that shooter, that San Bernardino killer, on all of his phone calls. They have all that. It's all recorded. They record all of it. So why do they need to break into this phone? And so they were casting a lot of suspicion on the FBI's motives, saying because the FBI, what they're asking for or demanding from Apple, like I said, is extensive software that would allow the FBI to access any iPhone ever. And that's why Apple was like, no, you're killing our product. Our product is based on security. Our clients like to buy a phone that you can't hack into. So no. And the FBI is like, yes, give us this thing. So Chomsky was saying it's all very odd, and it makes it look like the FBI just wants a skeleton key to everyone's phone on Earth through this, and they're using this San Bernardino. You know, they pick the worst guy. It's like Hitler. You won't let us get into Hitler's phone? Come on, and they make a public display, and they get half the country or more to support them in the process.
You know what, man? Here's my thought on it, dude. Nothing you guys have learned has ever helped us. You didn't stop the dude from San Bernardino even though you were listening to all his fucking calls.
Yeah.
Yep.
You didn't stop fucking 9/11 even though you were listening to calls. You didn't fucking stop the shit in Paris even though you're listening to calls.
And they were listening in Europe. Make no mistake.
I'll just do what I do every day and continue to strap on my fucking Glock, and I'll take care of myself.
You know what else I find funny? Every time these guys do these terror attacks, they always say, oh, we were surveilling him, and then all of a sudden we backed off.
Yeah.
And then he pulls this shit. I'm like, it's funny that every time you pull off a guy, now all of a sudden he's blown up some shit.
Right. There were the people in Brussels and Paris, those attackers, a lot of them were on watch lists.
Right.
A lot of them were. And people routinely ignore warnings. 9/11, there was a warning, specific warning, ignored. I mean, and it's partly it's understandable because you can't address every warning. But that's the point Chomsky was making is it's too much information. The whole strategy is misguided.
Well, did you see the thing the other day where they interviewed the ISIS guy they were claiming responsibility for the attacks, and he says we're just warming up for the big show in the good old USA.
Terror is their game, Brian. Don't forget that.
Well, you know, I'm just saying, if you think they're not going to come here. Yeah. You think they're not going to do it? I don't think he's just randomly talking shit.
No, but he does want to scare people. That's part of their strategy. Yeah, but I agree with you that, eventually, sure, it's going to happen.
And I don't feel particularly scared.
I don't either. And I think that...
But to think that we're going to be isolated from it, and I think that's a common American thought, that they're going to protect us. Yeah. Our government's going to take care of us. We're safe here. We're not. You're not.
And you couldn't be.
No, not in a country this big.
In a police state, you could not be safe.
Not in a country this big.
No.
If you live in a police state the size of Germany, we could probably lock it down a lot better than we could with
Yeah.
This is a big fucking place, man.
But you would still need a police state and no freedom to even lock it down to
even
that extent.
then.
Yeah, even then you couldn't. That's
we
exactly,
don't have enough people. That Canadian border is long.
Chomsky made another interesting point. He was saying that all of these, the government's purpose is to, in some sense, protect the people to its best ability.
Agreed.
But all of these documents, these classified documents, top secret, when they become unclassified after 60 years or whatever, what you find is that all of them are related to protecting the state. Chomsky made a very good point that when you read these documents, they're not about how are we going to protect the citizens. It's never that. It's how do we protect the state from the citizens, from finding out what we're doing or altering things. How do we keep things more secret? He said that's where all the energy and attention is in these documents, is sort of protecting the state from the people. In some cases, from democratic participation. So that was a very dark point, and it's true. This isn't just radical Chomsky talking.
Donald said that in different words.
Yeah,
at the beginning of the show.
So
should write a book, Donald.
Yeah, I'm thinking about
it. Change the name to Chomsky.
Well, similarly, did you guys read or hear about the whole Nixon aid that came out and said that the drug war was basically started as a way to stop the revolutionary thing that was going on in the 60s and the Black Power movement and all that?
It was to stop black people from
was to be able to monitor and arrest
the
people
drug
for things that really
right.
Well, they wanted to arrest them for these other things that were their rights.
Radical liberals. He mentioned radical liberals and blacks, and that the purpose of the drug laws. This is the aide to Nixon saying this. The purpose was to arrest them, to demonize them in their communities and put them in prison, just to get them out of the picture. He said that. Now, I did read, though, that what that was a paraphrase or an anecdote of the reporter who interviewed that guy. So recently, the reporter has now said, this is what that guy said. So I don't believe, from what I read, it didn't seem like it was a verbatim quote from the interview that they had.
Well, I'd like to read the interview. But
me too. But anyway, that's pretty chilling.
Well, it just confirms what, black people have thought for a long time.
Since it started.
So when, I read stuff like that, I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
You're just finally admitting it. Oh, whoopee.
Nothing surprises me. I feel like our government did this. I'm like, sounds reasonable.
And now that they got, it's not like he's going to answer for it.
We don't have a long history of like good and just decisions where we treat the people great.
If you ignore my Bernie partisan rants, I mean, that whole discussion we just had about overreach of the government, that's very appealing to conservatives, right? I mean, they would be in agreement with us on most of this, or do a lot of them support that security state because they accept the argument that it keeps us safe?
I think conservatives
I think a lot of them do.
Yeah.
They agree with that because they think it keeps them safe.
Yeah.
That's why they want a strong military. Right? They want a really strong military with wars overseas, so wars aren't here.
Yeah.
Our enemies aren't coming to our gates and fucking us up.
And that shows you the split among conservatives, because so many conservatives are their biggest enemy to them is the government, and so they are very non-interventionist. Trump people don't want wars necessarily. Trump's not been advocating war.
Well, he's
been advocating worse things, but not war.
Well, that's when we were talking about violence at Trump rallies. What I was going to talk about is how do you define violence? Now, if you define violence as rhetoric and things that someone says, then I can see how you, and possibly even then like little skirmishes that occur at something that you are quote unquote the head of, then I can see how you can think that Trump is more violent than Clinton or Sanders. Now, if you define violence as actually people dying from the results of policy, then I'm sorry, both Sanders and Clinton have voted in favor of that.
Right. But Trump
has never been the reason for a war.
Right.
As far as I know.
Not yet.
Yeah. He did say that he wouldn't take off the table. Yeah, he said he wouldn't take off the table the option of using nuclear weapons against ISIS.
Oh, he said that we should kill terrorist families.
Yes.
Like not even the terrorists. We should go and... But he hasn't actually done
it.
that.
He hasn't
Sanders and Clinton have actually said yes and then voted for it, and it got implemented, and the results happened.
Yeah, Sanders in Afghanistan.
So all I'm saying is, to be fair, if we're going to talk about violence.
Right. Right, but most people are talking about him standing on the podium saying, punch him in the face.
Of course they
drag him out,
and that's
I'll pay your
legal fees. Because that's what's in the media, and that's what people think about. You don't like to think... No, but I'm saying no one in this country likes to think that their vote is also sometimes, in the end result, is someone fucking dying.
Yeah, electing people who start wars, in other words.
Not even start wars, but electing people who will vote for wars for whatever reason, even if it is to support the veterans here at home.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of, did you hear about Syria? And basically the problem now is we have people who want, in our government, you got people that want to kill and destroy ISIS, and then you got people that want to effect regime change in Syria. Well, so you have factions now in Syria, factions that are backed by the CIA, who wants to get rid of the regime, and then you got factions that are backed by the Pentagon, fighting each other. You got factions backed by CIA shooting at factions backed by the Pentagon.
Yeah, that happens all the time. These different departments. Not communicating with each other.
But that's a huge, for me, reason that we don't back any of those fuckers. We stop spending our money for that kind of shit.
Your policy is pull out of Syria completely.
Yes.
Yeah. We're just by the way, Russia on our dick over there.
By the way, Russia, who
also a great point.
Remember when Putin started a really large-scale war in Syria to support Assad, like last summer or a little, and all the Republicans were saying, "Oh, look, he's got balls." Trump was, "He's got balls. He's going in there and killing ISIS." He wasn't killing ISIS at all. He was killing the rebels that were to support the dictator. But they were saying, "Look, he's got in the last week." He announced, Putin announced, "We're pulling out 95% of our military. We're leaving." This is so much for that approach.
Yeah, there's some things that just aren't feasible no matter who you are.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a whole Mesopotamia over there.
Oh, man.
I stole that from Jon Stewart.
Just like you don't want to go to war with Russia in the wintertime.
Yeah.
Nope. General Mud and General Winter.
Don't march on Stalingrad.
Nope.
Whatever it's called.
Either.
St. Petersburg.
Let that spring thaw go through first. It's a summer fight.
Go in June.
Yeah, let's fight in June, fellas.
Yeah.
See you there.
Late June.
Our tanks are fast.
We're talking shit in the summertime.
Yeah.
Motherfuckers, it's wintertime. No, we good, homie.
Yeah. Happy Easter. Eddie. I know this is a special
We know you're
day
in
for
church,
you,
Eddie. It's okay.
The birth of Christ. Or the death. The rising. Sorry.
Unless
Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Wow, that
apparently.
was bad.
Yeah, John, who went to a Christian college.
The birth, the death, the resurrection. I tried all three.
He's like,
that's all of them.
Eventually I'll get there.
It is all three. It is the Trinity. It's the birth of Christ as a man, right?
No.
The death of Christ as a man.
Well, that was,
the
that's
birth
Good
of
Friday.
Christ as God, the Messiah.
Right.
And the resurrection.
Good enough. Move that stone out of the way and fly to heaven.
Didn't you put a thing up saying the real
Ishtar? Yeah, the Assyrian goddess of fertility.
Yeah, that one makes
this holiday's all about hump.
That makes more sense to me.
It's a hump holiday. Yeah, the rabbits and the eggs are symbols of fertility.
It goes even further than that. Cavemen used to throw rocks at rabbits to kill them for food.
As you do.
And then they would have to go gather the rocks again. Sometimes it was really hard to find the rocks.
That's what Mark was doing when I picked him up today.
Hunt?
Yeah.
You're not.
No, that's true.
Is that a thing?
Yeah.
That's what he was doing when I picked him up today.
No records from cavemen.
They drew it on the walls, dude. Jesus, John. You need to get to more caves,
I like the one with the bunnies and eggs and sex.
Yeah.
S-Star.
That's what it was. Yeah. That's what I said. Get your freak on. Yeah. Celebrate your sexy. It's a pagan party today.
More sense to me.
Take your pants off and party.
Than bashing a bunch of bunnies over the head.
Yeah, and no bunny bashing. Let's be. You know what's weird? I saw a lot of rabbits on the trail today.
Yeah, Paula saw a rabbit this morning.
Rabbits all over the fucking place.
It's Easter, man.
It's
yeah,
awesome.
and I saw a mountain with a halo on it. I'll show you guys a picture after that.
All right. That was episode 56 of the Radical Agnostic. Still going strong. Stronger every week. See you next time.
Bye.